Professor Harbinger. So today we will be doing the first of the Amita Sabal Balance of Power missions. For those of you just joining us, we'll just bring up the map here. So we have gone through the introductory sequences. We have been stopped at the border. We have been rescued from Pagan Min's palace. We have done the first mission for Amita only, which was the hunting of the wolves, which allowed us to get the necessary crafting materials to craft our first weapon holster. In the off time, I have been kicking up a bunch of stuff here. As you can see, should probably crank up this if I can do it at all before I leave. We've done Sabal's mission, which was to open the radio tower here, which opened up this part of the map because this is an Ubisoft game after all. We've collected most of the collectibles in the Southern Valley. We have left a few of the loot boxes because they're not always necessary, and we have left the journal here because it will be available when we get the cutscene down at the temple there where they're offloading the bodies with Badra, so we'll get to that later. Skill-wise, we've grabbed a bunch of skills here. We have the knife throw takedown because that turns a takedown from a one-person to a two-person kill. We have the loot takedown because it means you're not having to go back and loot bodies after you take them down, obviously. And the drag takedown because it makes hiding bodies so much easier. Over here, we have moving target. It allows you to fire and aim a sidearm while you're moving a body. Again, makes you less vulnerable when you're doing the stealth thing. And I like the stealth thing you'll find in a little bit. We've got the harvester because it allows us to take 2 leaves for every 1 plant we cut. And we have the hunting syringe. As we'll discover on this next mission, there's a ton of hunters, and the only way to keep hunters clearly in your sights is with this thing. We have the gadget training because it shows collectibles and lets us set waypoints. The repair tool thing is not really necessary as a general rule, I find. Trade agreement is the reason we got this in the first place. That this is nice, this is necessary. Explosive arrows, fire arrows, sticky explosive upgrades. That's what we wanted there. I've done one of these just because it's not bad to have extra hit points. I have played through most of the game with just the 2 before, and so it's certainly not a requisite. At some point I'm going to do a run through without increasing my hit points at all. I have not done that yet, but it is on the docket at some point. So that's where we're sitting. I have 1 point at this point, so I could do things like this, which is not a bad idea given that I'm about to do a mission where there could be fire damage. So certainly don't need that at this point. Is there anything that I need that's a 2-pointer that might be worth grabbing down the road? I don't care for that. That's useful, but I'll be sneaking a lot more in this next mission, so it probably won't be necessary right now. Death from above. Unlikely to be useful in this particular mission, so we'll hold off. I think I'm going to go and just make myself a little bit more sturdy. Alright. So there we go. How many arrows do I have? I can carry currently up to 15 arrows. This would bump me up to 20. I'm going to hold off. If we need it, we need it. Quickly looking at my loadout. So I have the 6er sidearm, I have the bow, I have a shotgun, and I have a sniper rifle. Is there anything here with a silencer that I can get? I don't think so with the amount of money I have, because I don't have much, but let's have a quick look because this next one will be silencer. Actually, you know what? We're going to do this instead. We are going to do that instead. Yeah, neither of those can accept any, and that only accepts a scope. Okay, so no silencer on the sidearm, so that's not happening. The A2000 does not accept a silencer. Neither does that. Neither does that. Alright, so nothing there. I don't think I have any signatures that would accept a silencer or has a silencer. These are all still locked. No. Okay, so I am stuck with the weapons that I have. This is basically the best option I've got. Do I have these? I have my explosive and fire arrows. We're in good shape there. Alright. Quick check. Do I have... Okay, I do have some bait. That's good. Alright. So, if you look on the map in the bottom left corner, you'll see the Golden Path logo there. That is where we're going right now. That's not a... Hang on. That's not drills. Better. Yeah, the Golden Path are not bad at dealing with this.
Hey, I'd like to talk to you.
They're certainly better than the Rakyat were in Far Cry 3.
Thank you. That was close.
I do like this. Notice it's not a young woman. There's actually a 50-50 split on Golden Path members for male and female, and there's no preference as to what weapons they carry. The reason the Golden Path do better than the Rakyat did against the pirates in Far Cry 3 is that the Rakyat always carried AK-47s, whereas the Golden Path actually have a variety of weapons available to them. I should get that green plant. And so they actually do have some other weapons, which allows them to put up a better fight and even win a certain number of encounters with the Royal Army. I don't expect they would win as many with the Royal Guard, who are better armed, better armored, and yeah, would probably just take them down. They're also not very good at avoiding cars. This is something I've noticed. Just an odd little piece. They don't do well at avoiding cars, and go figure. Alright, so now we're going to do the story mission. At this point, I still haven't maxed out my karma, so doing those karma events is still a very good thing. So this is a balance of power mission. And so we're going to choose between Amita or Sabal. And I'm going to give you a little bit of context before we start up on this. So, we were rescued, well, we were captured first by Pagan Min as we tried to sneak across the border with one of the Golden Path leaders, a guy named Darpan. Darpan died in the exchange, or at least we believe so. You never actually see him die. I presume he died. I mean, he was getting electrocuted by Duplur last we saw him. But, I mean, you know, movie conventions being what they are, you never actually see him die, so... But we presume he's dead, so we'll leave it there for the moment. In any event, Darpan apparently was the tiebreaker between Amita and Sabal in the Golden Path, with Amita favoring the pragmatic, kind of dark mercenary approach, and Sabal favoring a traditionalist approach. Amita is much more in line with the Maoist rebellion in Nepal as their in her ideology, and also the Shining Path rebellion down in South America, whereas Sabal is much more of a classic traditionalist in the royalist sort of resistance rebellion way you see with, well, amongst others, Tibet. And they're now locked. Deadlocked with no way to go forward because there's no third person to side with one or the other. And so here we go. I was trying to hit the bells there.
No!
I would not want to walk in there right now.
What are they arguing about?
Pagan Min soldiers are about to attack one of our camps. Amita thinks our priority should be the information the fighters have gathered. Sabal thinks saving our people is more important.
How long have they been at it?
Long enough. The argument never changes and their positions never move. Look, I don't want to bother you, but you're Ajay Gale, right? Thank you for helping us. Everyone here appreciates it.
I owe Golden Path for rescuing me, but honestly, I'm just here to scatter my mother's ashes.
Perhaps. But now you see what Pagan has done
There we
to
go.
this country.
Personal space.
You are the son of Mohan Gale. Like it or not, your duties, Kirat. And your choices will carry weight. We need someone to break the stalemate between Amita and Sabal. Keep that in mind when you're in there.
This is about lives. We don't act, people will die.
This is about war. We need that intel.
We're talking about soldiers we can use. Remember what you said about DARPA?
And if I had a choice between Darpan and the intelligence, I choose the intel.
So, you may be wondering, why on earth would this rebel organization that's just saved you be putting this much responsibility on your shoulders? So let's give a little context, because this actually makes a lot more sense than it might initially feel from a game perspective. So, Golden Path, founded by Ishwari and Mohan Gale, your parents. Your father dies under mysterious circumstances. Your mother flees Kirat. You're 3 years old at the time, and disappears. Golden Path is now without its original founding leaders. They continue on, and by the time your mother dies and sends you back to Kirat, we have 3 people in charge. 2 very young leaders, because let's be honest, look at Amita and Sabal, they are your age. They're early to mid-20s. So they've just taken whatever reins of powers that they currently have within a few years at most, because, I mean, look at them. And then they have Darpan, who is clearly more in line with the age of Pagan Min and therefore your parents. So Darpan was probably the last of the old guard, keeping that in mind. He was also clearly the voice of reason, and if you watch the loading screens, one of the little chunks, nuggets of information that'll pop up is Darpan does the talking. It's a joke because he says before the border guard, he says, you know, breathe, I'll do the talking. But it's easy to see, looking at what's happened to the Golden Path with his death, that he probably did do the talking. They were probably his second in commands, second and thirds. They were probably his 2 chief lieutenants, with him still leading things. With him dead, they're de facto leaders now, but there's nobody to break the stalemate. You arrive, their age, so you're not going to look like you're a kid compared to the current leaders, because you're all the same age. You look like a newcomer, but you have one hell of a pedigree. You are the son of the 2 founding leaders of the place, but you're still a newcomer. You were still raised in America. Darpan died trying to get you into Kirat. That's a certain amount of weight right there. So you arrive in Banipur. No one's expecting much of you. Now imagine you're a regular Golden Path person. And what do you start hearing? Well, okay, the son of Ishwari and Mohan Gale has been rescued from Pagan Min and brought into Banipur. Darpan's dead. Amita and Sabal are now the only surviving leaders. Okay, well, what about this guy? Well, who knows? He was raised in America. It's not like he's a soldier or anything. Apparently, Ishwari's dead, and he's there to scatter her ashes. Oh, that's not great. Wait, what was that? He went up and killed a bunch of wolves and bombed a wolf's den to stop Kanan's farm from getting attacked on his own? Okay. Wait, what's that? After the guy Sabal sent up to climb the bell tower fell and the other guy died, what happened? Well, Ajay went up there on his own, killed the Royal Army guys that were guarding it, and tore down some propaganda posters and hijacked the signal, and now Ruby Ray Rana is broadcasting in southern Kyrat again. Dude, what did this guy do in America? Okay, Banipur's under attack. Holy shit, Banipur's under attack. And you hear on the radio, Sabal telling the kid to stay away. Ajay is supposed to stay away. That makes sense. I mean, let's be honest. So far what he's done has been good, but it's not like it's combat. Wait, is he in the middle of Banipur killing soldiers left and right? Saving the Golden Path? Did he just rescue Badra from a burning building? Did he just bomb a helicopter? Holy crap. Did we get lucky? What did this kid do while he was in America? Was his mother training him the whole time? Okay, Paul has taken hostages. Paul Harmon has taken some of us hostage. Oh, don't worry about it. Ajay just rescued all the hostages. And he just cleared the outpost that we had lost and recaptured it for us. This guy's been here, what, 2 days? And he's hunted problem wolves, cleared a bell tower, saved the goddess on Earth, rescued hostages, and cleared the outpost that was blocking our advance through the rest of Kyrat. All right, let's see what he's got to say. Clearly he has some chops. So, you know, when you start adding it up, by this point in the game, them saying break the stalemate between these two stubborn assholes makes perfect sense. You've been pragmatic. You've worked for both sides already, Amita and Sabal. You've put people first and helped them strategically. And you have pedigree. You have more pedigree than either of these two guys do because of who your parents are. So, yeah, I mean, this may seem strange, but you add it all up and it's hard to disagree with them. So, with regards to the missions themselves, this is one of the things that gives Far Cry 4 a fair bit of replayability. I know I'm sitting on this screen for a little while, but hopefully this is, you know, interesting to listen to. When you choose who to go with, Amita or Sabal, you will get a totally different mission. It's the same map, but you will get a different mission. Or you'll get the same mission that plays in a different way. Later on, you will even get some that are different maps. You'll play the same event at 2 different locations in the interaction. One later one, you'll have to choose between defending a town under bombardment and helping people get to safety and stopping the ground forces, or you'll have to go, or potentially going and attacking the artillery units doing the bombardment. In some cases, you'll have to choose between destroying resources or protecting them, saving people or executing them, all sorts of stuff like that. And the maps will generally be the same map, but the mission will play very differently. So at the very least, you get 2 playthroughs of this game in terms of the missions because of the way they've set this up. It'll affect some of the cutscenes. It will not affect the flow of the game. You could go back and forth, Amita Sabal, Amita Sabal, Amita Sabal, and until the very end, who you side with does not affect how the game goes. It will also not affect the final confrontation with Peg and Min. This game essentially has a staggered set of 3 to 5 endings, depending on how you play it. That's not counting the secret ending. And you can look that up anywhere. So, also, this doesn't give you much in the way of gameplay change, depending on how you do this. This next mission, there will be a slight advantage if you play as Amita on one of the missions afterwards. I don't know if there'll be an advantage if you play as Sabal, but I'll be doing Amita's mission on this particular case. I'm going to be going through this and playing the missions that I find most enjoyable to play. I have played this siding with entirely Amita and entirely Sabal before. In this case, I'm going to do what I have been lately doing, which is taking the missions I prefer to play. Alright, so that's the broad strokes of this, and let's get started. Alright, so now if you take a look on the map, you can see there's Amita, and there's Sabal, and who you talk to will determine what you do. You'll have a chance to accept or ignore their proposals, but that's going to be your option. I'm just going to have a quick look. I don't think there's anything in here. Oh, what do we actually got here? Urgent Royal Army attacks. Our scouts have seen increased Royal Army presence since the extraction of Ajay Ghale from Depler's compound. My last report from the camp southeast of Banipur suggests that they had intercepted intel on a major attack being planned by the Royal Army. The camp holding the intel was attacked last night. The other is expected to be attacked at any moment. Please send whatever help you can before it's too late. So that's what they know. Now, with regards to this, we'll see their two missions. I'm going to talk to Sabal first, because as I said, I'm going to accept Amida, so that'll just make it more efficient. Alright, so here's Sabal doing his broody angst thing.
How can I help?
One of our camps is about to get overrun. Don't know when, but it could get messy. I need to send them all the support I can. So if you want to help, get over there, brother.
So now it's going to give you a chance to accept or decline. I'm going to cancel because that's not the one I want to do. Sabal's mission is a defense escort mission. You have to keep a group of soldiers alive in the face of your first encounter with the Hunters, Pagan Min's Ranger Squad. And it's one of the least fun missions in Far Cry 4, in my opinion. Most people don't enjoy it. I've done it. I've beaten it. It's a pain in the ass. So here's Amida. She's playing the... Amida likes to sell herself as the underdog. You'll notice this throughout the game. She's very good at this. She's very clever. She is iron wrapped in silk.
Amita, I can get you that intel.
Okay. We've been hearing of a major attack for a while, and then Bunapur was hit, but it doesn't feel right. I think something big is coming, and the intel could confirm that. But we haven't heard from the camp since the attack, so watch yourself, okay?
I'm going to have to look up the marking that Amida has on her forehead. I've forgotten the term for those sorts of religious markings, but they generally mean something, and that one is distinctive. Don't know if it is real, but a lot of the stuff here has been. Not all of it, but a lot of it. And if it is, I want to know what it is, you know? So I may have an answer for that on my next broadcast, but we'll find out. So we've accepted Amida's. Amida's mission is to hunt through the camp. Again, we'll be facing the Hunters for the first time. Hunters being the wilderness forces. Oh, hang on. Do I need those? 1 second here. Clouded leopard, rhino, tiger, leopard, bear. Don't think so. I think I'm good for the moment. So those goats can stay alive. But they are for lack of a better term, the ranger force that Pagan Min employs. 3 key things. Key thing number 1 is that their tags fade. So if you tag them as you would any enemy, it only lasts like 30 seconds to a minute. I think it's even like 30 seconds or less. It fades out as you watch, which is challenging, as you can imagine. We're going to ignore those. I don't want to slow this down too much. So, Hunters' tags fade off. That's why you want that syringe that allows you to sense them, because their regular tags will disappear, and then you're going to have to go back and re-tag them. Second, you can't use bait against Hunters because they can override and take control of the... this is where I want to be. Hang on a second, guys. Crap, hang on. Yeah. Bear with me. There's a certain way I want to approach this. So, bear with me. Is this it? I think so. Let me just look at the map. I think so. I think this will get me there. We'll find out in a minute. So, the hunters can override and take control of animals and send them to attack you. So if you actually summon any with bait, you're essentially summoning more enemies to attack you if there's a hunter in the area. So that makes it very problematic as a second point. You'll notice that especially when you're taking outposts, because normally in Far Cry 3 you would simply shoot the cage, release the animal, and let it run wild. Well, now you have to make sure you've dealt with the hunter first, or else you are essentially giving them backup. And so that's, you know, all kinds of fun. And third, they use a bow as opposed to a regular weapon, and they can use flaming arrows just like you can. They don't use explosive arrows that I've seen, but they can use flaming arrows, and their bow, although it's a hunter bow, not a recurve bow, is still more than powerful enough to kill you in a very few number of shots, and they are very fast, very accurate, and very, very quiet. They don't talk very much. They'll occasionally say things like, "Everything leaves a trace," but most of the time what they will do okay, that's where I need to be, right there. I think I missed the point. There we go. But generally they communicate with whistles that sound like birdsong. You'll get used to recognizing which ones are actually theirs and which ones are actual birdsong the more you play the game, and yes, this is a thing. Whoa. Ah. Well, that's entertaining. You'll also get used to using your radar. And that's the knife throw takedown. Right there. And because that was a takedown, he's already looted. And remember, even if you don't want a weapon, if it has a weapon you don't yet have, if a body has a weapon you don't yet have, then pick it up, because it'll then be free in the shops going forward. Nice. One second here, folks. That deserves a little bit of photography. Perfect. All right, so yeah, also because you can retrieve your arrows, arrows are often a better way to preserve ammo as long as you're not firing wildly. You'll notice as soon as we switched to a second here. Oh, no, we're full. Health is full. Don't need to worry about healing and then taking that. Didn't use a sniper. I have full arrows. That was all very nice. Apparently there was some armor there too. I missed that, but definitely picked up the armor because I'm back at full. I did take a hit there during the takedown, and that's an important thing to keep in mind. Takedowns will not prevent you from taking damage. Oh, and yeah, the masks, as I just showed, you do not have to interact with them by pressing the button. You can actually just you are more than able to just shoot them. And there's a sixer, which I don't need, and that was a shotgun. It gives you some options to change weapons if you find yourself equipped badly. which is nice. And yes, I'm walking out on a railing, but this is the only way to reach that. So, you do not, as far as I can tell, take damage from swinging. So yeah, hunters are best sniped from a distance where they can't interact with you. So that's how you want to do this. Now, I'm taking a very circuitous route to get to this mission, because this gives me, with my new sniper rifle, some very nice sniping abilities, again, to deal with those really annoying hunters that you're going to meet for the first time on this mission. And that's why I'm coming at it from this angle. You can see the yellow on the map now as we're getting close to the mission zone. Keep in mind that once you're in the yellow, you'd have to cancel out of the mission if you want to change things up. You won't be able to leave the area once the mission is active. So do watch when you're approaching a mission. If you want to approach it from a creative angle, you want to do so without entering the yellow bar, if at all possible. It isn't always possible. This is an Ubisoft game, as much as I like Ubisoft games. But, you know, do what you can. So there's the camp. I'm gonna have a quick scope here. It's probably too far away for me to see much, but the smoke, by the way, a bunch of fog and smoke will roll in once we enter the area. So you can actually see it a little better right now because we haven't started the actual mission programming from loading yet. So this is your first test as somebody they respect. Up until now you have been an X Factor. You can see the bodies, right? There's one right there. We're too far away for the enemies to have spawned, and as I said, the mission hasn't started yet. So we do need to enter there, but we need to be careful in terms of how we walk in. I think I want to continue up a little further if I'm able to. I don't know if I am. This isn't exactly climbable material. Oh, that wasn't too bad. We're going to come around from another side in order to approach. Because again, I want my sniping abilities to not be compromised. This works. Yeah. I mean, if you have to go in straight, so be it, but you want to try and avoid that if possible. And we're in. And the fog rolls in. Boom. Alright, so a couple things to do. We don't... There we go. Okay, hang on. Okay, that should be close enough. Now, we should be able to see this. Again, you don't want to slide, because we want to take advantage of our height as much as possible. We have the extended scope, but the fog is not easy. We're approaching from as oblique an angle as we can manage. Okay, there's something. So we are registering stuff now. So now the point is to take out hunters stealthily before they're in a position to see us. So that's what we're going to start by doing. Okay, can I make it up here? Probably not. Oh, and I left. Oh, no. This is, I suppose, a good thing to show you, because it's going to start me now at the worst possible spot. This is one of the things about this game. I love this game to death, but the way it deals with mission zones, because now I'm going to start right at the beginning. See, look at this. Thank you for putting me right out where everyone can see me. It's almost like you want me to get killed. Alright. So now I really... Now I really need to see what's going on. Okay, so... Again, because these guys are hard to spot, we want to keep ourselves in positions where we have decent cover and decent sight lines. This is going to be a quiet, cautious mission. Also, I'm pretty sure that the hunters spawn throughout this as opposed to just already being here. And that is an important thing to keep in mind. Because I only have this as a silenced weapon plus the bow, that adds all sorts of fun challenges. We're going to do a couple things here though. Going to add... Because they sneak, we're going to prep for sneaks. I don't need ammo right now. Found a piece of intel. That should generate something. So let's wait and let's see. Again, there's one. See, right there. Oh, and now it tells us about the hunters. Yes, see, there's everything I mentioned. And you can hear this. And there's one dead. And you'll notice that is a wolf that the hunter has controlled. You can see it has the arrow marker on it. And of course the ammo blew off. That was charming. Go. I actually get karma for that. Let's get the arrows back. Since I only have 15 arrows, recovering arrows is very important. Alright. Let's go get that mine, because again, I only have a limited number of them as well. Arrow over there. But yeah, this is a counter stealth mission, for lack of a better term. And so you gotta be ready for that. And again, I do believe more hunters spawn whenever you actually collect an intel piece, and as such, if you want to be prepared for them, you'll essentially give yourself booby traps prior to them getting too close. Ooh, a conflict diamond. Those are worth a lot. pretty good bet that something's going to come along here when I go to that next piece. So that seemed like a decent place to start. I may need to recover more gear afterwards, so I'm not going to take too many bodies to loot, because they will have ammo on them. The hunters in particular would have arrows, because, you know, people have the ammo that they were using. There's also, as you notice, arrows sticking out of everything, so... Oh, my armor's gone, so let's get the armor. And the health. I'll grab one of these, because they use fire arrows, and I don't want to be setting that thing exploding without getting something out of it. Alright. That's the intel one. Let's grab this one. Okay. Give it a minute. Ubisoft is pretty good about this in terms of how they spawn new waves. They tend not to spawn them right on top of you. So it does feel fairly believable. I mean, not perfectly believable, because you start to notice it. But it's still not bad. That said, I like this game a lot, and I have played it a lot, so I've probably noticed more than the average player would. Not because I'm necessarily a better player, but just because I've seen it a lot. Okay, so now we're heading for the pool. What did I miss up here? Or was it even in here? Oh, there was one. Look at that. And that's why you pay attention to your map. I'm not hearing any hunter sounds, so that's good. By the way, that beeping also happens when it's not yours. So you'll want to pay attention to that sound, because it'll save your life. Those do not sound like hunter sounds. Also, keep in mind where they'd be firing from, because you can use that to your advantage. Now, this last piece of intel is on a body at the bottom of this bit of water. See the light down there? Oh crap, I forgot. That's a devilfish. I'm being foolish. So the devilfish, just as an FYI, if you watch River Monster with Jeremy Wade, the devilfish looks like it's heavily derived from the tigerfish, which I didn't realize that it existed outside of Africa. I mean, maybe it doesn't. Maybe they just liked the look of it. But it looks very much like the African tigerfish. So checkpoint has been hit. Expect something to spawn.
Amita, I got the intel.
Okay, Ajay. Now go to the other camp and see what you can do.
Now the other camp, this is where Sabal would have sent you first. Now the game wants you, very much wants you, to walk down a long straight path filled with hunters. It wants you to run a gauntlet. I don't run gauntlets, not if I can help it. And yeah, the game is telling us that hunters are equipped with fire arrows and can turn animals against you. This is all very true. And as such, as much as possible, you want to avoid doing what the game is thinking you should do. I wasn't able to use my sniping outpost on the first run, so we'll see, because again, we're running against what the game's intended play is. Folding Ideas has a great talk on intended play, and you should absolutely watch that video to get a sense. But we are trying to skirt intended play. If we go too far off the main trail, the game will simply have us fail back to the last checkpoint, and so we have to skirt that as creatively as we can, so that, see, and now we're back in. Gave us warning though, so we're not absolutely stuck restarting. And there is that right there. That's our reward. Boom. Our reward is a dead hunter. That is a hunter whistle. So there is another hunter in the area. We can hear it. I don't see it, which I very much don't like. Well, apparently we flushed out a controlled eagle. That would have been a pain. Okay, let's go loot some stuff. And more importantly, get some arrows back. There, we're back up to 13. That is good. 6 health back. Oh. Where is that snake? It is close enough that it's giving me a warning. And somebody gave a fire alert. Also, as an aside, hunters can see through bush. They can't see through solid obstacles, but hunters can see through brush cover that would confound regular soldiers. So you can't hide in a bush from them. That won't help you. Dang it. I meant to cancel that. What did I just hit? Probably a snake. Probably near the fire, or you wouldn't be calling about it. But hey, it does force them to react, which is nice. Now again, see what I'm doing here? I'm skirting the edge. For the record, I don't believe you can make it there in time. I believe those are literally just recorded audios. Arrows, gotta be careful. Nope, that's not what I meant to do. The wolf can't raise an alarm, so let's take it out first. Oh, hey, look at that.
Oi! Search the area! Where are you hiding? Coward! How many do you think they are? Cover me! I'm headed up! Hold on! No need to hide. I'll find a trap. I saw him a second ago. Find him.
Sorry, I'm concentrating a little bit here, folks.
Cover me! Going up! Drawn my blade! Die!
Okay. So they definitely know I'm here now, but I've taken out most of the hunters. Actually, I've taken out most of the guys, period. Would have been nice if I could have used a takedown on some of them. There we go. Now I feel more accomplished.
Amita, everyone's dead here.
Damn. Those were good soldiers that died. Tell me they didn't die in vain. Tell me you found the intel.
It's a map of a temple or something.
Okay, Ajay. This could be important. I'll check it out. And thank you. Thank you for following my lead.
Quit piling the bodies. They were piling the bodies. Wait, what is that? That's a hostage. Well, okay then. Hello, random karma event.
That was close.
Don't think I'm going to hit this, but, you know. Don't think I hit the tire. Having a quick look, it seems like it's still moving. Yeah, still moving. Alright, so what we have there is we have our first mission. So we chose the intelligence over the people, siding with Amida. What the hell? Well, hi. How do you do? I needed your skins. Well, that saves us a little bit of trouble. Well, I do not want... Yes, by all means, let's take the crap bow. I'm just about full on gear, so... What do we got here? Son of Mohan Ghale returns. By now you must know that Ajay Ghale, son of Mohan Ghale, has returned to Kyrat to join the Golden Path as his father did before him. My men and I rescued Ajay from the impostor King Min, and he's already proven himself in battle, defending Banapur in our valley from Deplor's pathetic retaliation. Keep fighting, my brothers, we are at war, but clearly the gods are smiling upon us. Long live the Golden Path, and long live Kyrat Thabal. Ooh! That sucks. Oh, and that's not up. I was hoping those were replacement Molotov cocktails. So the Molotov Cocktail, kind of an interesting thing here. The history of the Molotov Cocktail comes actually from the wars between Finland and Russia. During World War I and II, Russia kept trying to basically take Finland back. They always kind of figured it was their personal property. And the foreign minister Molotov tried to cover up the bombing of the Finns by saying that he was dropping food aid. And as such, the Finns called the bombing Molotov's breadbasket. And then the Finnish government designed improvised explosives using, obviously, the Molotov cocktail design. And they called it a Molotov cocktail as a cocktail to go with all the bread Russia was providing, meaning the bombing. It was a nasty little rebuke to the Russians. And so, if you ever wondered where the name Molotov Cocktail comes from, well, that's where the name Molotov Cocktail comes from. Now, I am pretty full on my loot bag, so I should fast travel back and get some of this stuff sold. But before I do that, I'm going to grab some blue leaves, because these guys are useful. So, weird thing. No desire to kill this guy, but he won't show up in my... Oh, look at that, I can't even do that. He will not show up in my guide until I do... that. I heard a leopard. You guys all heard a leopard, right? Okay, I hear a leopard and I summon a wolf. Go figure. Alright. Gonna grab that other blue, and then we're gonna fast travel back. You can already see that Sabal's S is showing on the map, and also a B for Badra. And that's what we're gonna do before we end this. So I have one additional skill. I don't think it's anything that I really want to use right away. I could open up a survival. I've almost never used the survival syringe. I mean, it can be useful in boss battles, but it doesn't come up very often. I'm probably going to hold off there. This is not useful, but this is, so I'm going to grab this. Alright, so now we're going to airlift our way out of here. That's funny. I saw a B on them. Oh, there, yeah, there's the B right there. Okay, I set that as a waypoint, and we're going to travel to Banipur. And you can see at the bottom there the little notes. Find and remove the masks of Yalung to stop the bad omens of a deranged killer. Ah, yes, and Paul Harmon throws notorious parties at his city of pain. That's not his complex. That's not his fortress. All the lieutenants have fortresses. That's a story event location you'll only ever access once. You can see it from the outside, but you can't actually get into it except during the stories. So let's see, anything entertaining? Well, there's the conflict diamond drawing us back to Far Cry 2. That's one of the more valuable ones. You can see here warlords and mercenaries come and go, but a blood diamond is forever. This one's from Boa Seco, which should be worth quite a bit. Conflict diamonds were actually your paycheck. That was your currency in Far Cry 2, because the local currency was worthless. Oh, hey, we met Sharma Salsa, who runs the Karate Racing now. Vintage porn. A 60mm reel of the karate films Himalade, Volume 3, Wet and Ready for the Yeti, featuring Sharma Salsa and Riti Nin Riti Kapoor, whom, if you watched the previous one, you'll know that she has very fond memories of him. Singing bowls. I actually have one of these things. They are really interesting. You take a padded mallet and kind of roll the mallet around the edges, and it makes a singing kind of sound. Alright, so yeah, let's sell all of this. Opium balls and trucker speed. Wouldn't be a Far Cry game without offhanded jokes about drugs. So now I have a ton of money to use. Let's start by refilling our ammo, because I used a fair bit. Boom. And now what can we get? So I can get the upgraded guns for higher tokens. I don't use them much, although I tend to grab them if I can get them. Let's see if there's anything better, though. Again, neither of these can be upgraded. This is, honestly, at some point I'll buy it, but it's not a very good pistol, so I don't care. No, that would be my phone. I'm going to let it go. I am ignoring the phone for you guys. Look at us. So I can buy a bunch of guns here. This one you can find on bodies. This one you can find on bodies. This one I don't like. This one I have a better version of. So I think I'm going to leave those. This guy here could be useful, but it's not my style. This is if you would like the running gun. The heavy machine guns do a ton of damage. I don't think they've unlocked any other... No, they haven't unlocked any other signatures. Okay, I need to replenish my fire arrows, because those don't auto-replenish when you go to the ammo section and do the reload. So do keep that in mind. Maps. This is something I spend a lot of money on. We've opened up Mid-Kyrat, so I'm going to start buying some Mid-Kyrat maps. So let's open up masks. Oh, that's north. We don't know what north yet. Items, yes. Loot, yes. Also, as a side note, so I have a fancy sniper rifle here. Boom. Just to show you this. And you'll notice I have a custom paint job on it. The custom paint jobs are pretty garish. So this is green, it looks fine. Aqua, it looks okay. Fierce and Primal are very bright and garish. Huntsman is... It's a phrase called tactical, also quite bright. And Granite looks more like kind of pseudo-modern-esque. You'll notice I went with this. I went with this for two reasons. Not because it's my favorite, it's not. Honestly, I would probably just go with this. But I went with this because it's very bright and there's not a lot of colors like it. So if I have to drop my gun for whatever reason, switching weapons by accident, I can see my gun amongst the others, as opposed to a generic weapon and picking up a wrong weapon by mistake. The enemies don't spot the gun more easily if it's a different color. So this is purely so that I can see where my gun is if it's not on my person. That's why it's this color. And since this is a hard gun to get and the best sniper rifle for quite a while, it's marked. You'll notice I have the extended magazine, the high power multiple zoom scope if you were watching earlier, and the silencer. Because, I mean, these are Hollywood silencers. Real silencers do not do what these guns do, but I'll take it. Alright, I still have 240 Kirati rupees left. I don't see that I need to get much, so I'm going to buy another upgrade here, and then I'm going to leave it. Boom. Alright, so that being done, let's go see Bajra. Oh, and for those of you who watched the attempt and the failed mission thing, I've had really good success when that's worked, taking out the snipers before they come even close. So my recommendation is it's worth a try even if you fail out. Not the end of the world. Also, I'm going to try something else while we're doing this. This is a good angle here. This is a very good angle. So this is what I call the cheapest hunting method known to man. Boom. Take my arrows back, skin it, get the pelt, get the bait. And since the later stuff all requires predators, this is a fast way of getting additional stuff. Given how much I use the bow, the quiver's not a bad decision here. And if you've got an elevated spot like this, I mean, this is, you might call this cheap. I certainly wouldn't begrudge you if you thought I was doing something quite cheap with this. But it is a quick and effective way Okay, that looks like it's a dole. Oh, it's gonna run away, is it? See, this is suddenly becoming less cost effective. Amount of arrows I wasted there. Bears are particularly hard to do with this, just as an FYI. See if I get any other arrows just for doing a quick runabout. No. Alright. Good, good, good. And it does depend on where you are as to what animals show up, so trying different animals is... trying different areas will help. That sounded like a Bengal. And as you can see, a lot more arrows are required on a Bengal. If you played Far Cry 3, you'll know that tigers were a thing there. I don't know if they're using a different model here, but they should be, whether they are or not, because Bengal tigers are substantially bigger than heavy ammo bag. Bengal tigers are substantially different than Sumatran tigers, which is what they were using in Far Cry 3. The premise behind Far Cry 3 was that the animals there were a mishmash of things from Southeast Asia because the pirates were trafficking in endangered species. Whereas no such conceit exists in this story, and so all the animals have to actually be native to the area, in theory. You can also do something else when you're doing hunting. This is a little riskier, but rocks. That's not really high enough to do it. If you've got a rock that is of decent height, the animal will not easily be able to climb it. Ah, that's what we need. I think I missed that. Don't want it to run away. Don't want it to run away. As we poach our way down to the water. Clouded leopards, incidentally, just as an aside, are one of the most endangered species of a big cat in the world. The snow leopard is more endangered. A terrifying number of the things you are hunting here are endangered species. Rhinos. You don't actually hunt the elephants except for one hunt on a mad elephant. But yeah, you're killing a lot of endangered species in this game.
To the families.
I have never seen anything like this.
Well, I've never seen anyone carry around their mother's ashes.
Yeah. You think my father's funeral was like this?
I was too young. But I know his death broke the golden path. Things would be different now if he died fighting. But he didn't. He was murdered.
Murdered? Whoa, wait, what happened?
All I know is that he was killed in his house east of Banapur. It's still there. Maybe you could go there and find out more about him. Just be careful. That area belongs to Noor now. I have to go.
And that'll be our second reference to Noor. But murdered in his house. Welcome to the plot thickens. So up until now, this has all been a very straightforward, you know, heroic rebel journey, and now things start to get a little bit more mixed. I'm going to leave it here pretty quick here. I'm just going to have a look at these journals, because we haven't really touched on them yet. So, let us have a look at those, and then I'll call it. You take a look on the map quickly here. We're going to zoom out. So we have some new stuff showing on the map. Now, we have some side missions. We have a karate racing mission. You'll need to do at least one of these to unlock one of the skills later on. Go back and see which one it is. So soft landing, which is useful, but you need to liberate 2 outposts without being detected. Non-stop doesn't require anything. Breath control requires 2 hostage rescues. You've got 1. The Huntsman requires 2 Shangri-La missions. Ammo Wrangler requires 1 Longinus mission. Heavy Takedown needs 1 Pagan's Wrath mission. The Chain Takedown, which is a wonderful thing for the arena, that requires a retaliation party. That's when you defend an outpost from Pagan's army's attempt to take it. Here we go. The Vehicle Takedown. You will need the Vehicle Takedown for several missions. This allows you to perform a takedown from one vehicle to another, and so you'll need to do at least 1 karate racing mission in order to get this, and you do want it. Again, you'll need it. Certain missions become very difficult without it. You can see again here, a lot of these things have some sort of a requirement. Eye for an eye, bomb defusing. Bomb defusing are fun. Eye for an eye are also fun, for that matter. My buddy on the new Hack and Slash loves the Shangri-La missions. I'm not as big a fan, but hey, you know, we all have our things. I'm going to grab moving mountains right now with my 1 point, because being able to move them, to hide them, is a nice thing. I still can't do a takedown on them, but still useful. Alright, so back to the map. You can see that this area, although the map itself is not visible because I haven't unlocked the bell towers, it has opened up. This is Paul Deplore's fortress. This is Noor's fortress. And this is your parents' house. It's not showing up clearly on the map right now. I'm not sure why. It was kind of, see there, unknown location. Yeah, that's your parents' house. Yogi and Reggie. This is the mission that will start you on that path. If you take a look, there is a Sabal mission here you can do, and I don't believe there's an Amida mission. I don't see one. So yeah, you can do this, or you can move straight to this. I know where this takes you. I think I'm going to start with this one. I've forgotten what this actually is, but I'm not going to do it right at the moment. So I'm gonna call it here. I'm just going to go back and, as I say, read through what I've got. Oh, also, as you're noticing, when you do stuff, there are rewards. If you take a look, anything that's got an icon. The guns are obviously, you get new weapons. Taking out posts